Hey people, it's Diane. I'm going to do a really quick video, so maybe there is such a thing. I did one yesterday for 5 minutes, so I guess there is such a thing. I've been getting asked about the drops that I'm taking and what I'm doing, so I'm just going to go over it a little bit more. You really need to, hey Chris. You need to really know what your own health issues are. You need to know what are you facing? Why is it that you would be going on CBD oils? CBD oils are really healthy just to keep the immune system really up and to keep us in prevention mode. So, but somebody taking it for prevention is going to be different than somebody like that's starting out like I am and is working and is having some big health issues in terms of, fatigue and pain and mood and insomnia and all of that. I don't want to go on. I don't want to. Hey, Leona. Hi, Lucienne, too. Hi, ladies. I don't want to be like I'm whining about my wellness. I'm just hoping that people will look at it as a point as I'm just willing to share it so that we can learn something. But the drops that I ordered, because wanting to have something that was going to start me off really strongly, because this particular company, Change the Future Outcome, this is their oils, and this is the 1500 milligram bottle. I got a 750 milligram bottle. These are 30 milliliter bottles, and there's 300 and 500. Hi, Clancy. So that's the 750, and it's the same thing. They're both 30 milliliter bottles. That's the 1500. What this tells us is that in this bottle there's 1500 milligrams of CBD oil, the high grade CBD oil in this bottle, and it's like you guys have been hearing me talk about how it's extracted and it's organic and all of that. So the other stuff that I tried that I paid for from the dispensary was a 15 milliliter bottle, and that 15 milliliter bottle costs more than this 30 milliliter bottle, and it cost it was 15 milliliters, and it cost more than this bottle did. So this one, and it was that's what it was. It was a 1,000 milligram bottle. So not only is this one's 1,500, so there's 500 extra milligrams in this bottle. I'm getting double the volume, and I actually paid less for this. That's why I am happy. And this is in US dollars, but I still, when you work it out into Canadian dollars, it'd be very similar, but I got double the volume, double the actual oil. So what I wanted to just tell you guys a little bit about today, what I did last night was I've been sleeping better since the oils. The day or 2 days I didn't really notice it. Then I went that night when I got the extra stuff where I got the spray. That's the night I slept for 8 hours, and I was like, holy shit, I just slept for 8 hours. I couldn't believe it. What I did last night, because then I did the night where I did a full serving of this. So a full serving of this is what they consider 20 drops. The only time I have taken 20 drops at one time was on that night, Sunday night, and I didn't sleep Sunday night. I was wide awake. So what we learned about that was this one actually really boosted my energy when I took a full serving of it. So this bottle, you could take two full servings, 20 drops twice a day. So even with my own health issues and how I'm, kind of starting out, I am on a budget. So I wanted to try and see. I've been doing the 5 or so drops approximately every 4 to 6 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours, somewhere in there. And I've been noticing that. So I started them on Monday of last week. It's Wednesday, I believe it's Wednesday. I've been noticing that my energy is just consistent. And today I was in my living room at 7:40 this morning. Like, again, this is just unheard of. I was talking to a friend that said, hey Diane, how are you doing? And I was like, oh my God, I'm up. I'm in my room. I'm in my living room. I found a home improvement project show on at 7:30 in the morning. That seems to be what I like to do with my brain first thing in the morning. But so you just take these drops, and actually one of the reasons I was doing this video, I'm going to take the 750 milligrams, and I haven't taken any today, so I'm like, okay, I don't know what time it is. It's 11. I've been up since 7:30, 40. So, and then I realized, I haven't taken my drops today. The thing that you want to be careful about that, I haven't taken them because I woke up, I was feeling good. My mood was better. I mean, I'm not joking when I'm telling you guys that there are times that I really woke up and I would be in tears as soon as I got up because I would be in so much pain. And it's such a difficult way to start the day. So these are the 750. So what I realized is what you want to be careful of is you don't go, oh, I feel so great, I don't need my oils. It's taken me a long time to get in this much physical pain and health issues and surgeries and anesthesias and recovery and all the stuff, you know, back in the day when I was doing my other things when I was going through radiation and stuff. It takes a while for the body to repair, so you don't want to forget, because what will happen is you'll just go, oh, I don't really feel very good today, and in all honesty, it might be because you've already gotten away. So really you have to form a habit. So I'm actually going to do this right now. That's about 5 or 6 drops. This tastes like peppermint. It actually has a very, very nice taste. I'm talking. Normally what you do, but for sure you want to put it under your tongue, is you just let it sit under there for about 20 seconds, and that just really just absorbs straight through your mouth, goes straight into your bloodstream. So I'm like really excited the fact that, like I said, it's 11 and I was like, wow, I didn't take the oils as soon as I got up today, but I still feel good. And this one, the 1500, now what I've learned about it is I'm going to use this one more when I'm really low on energy, and I actually woke up today not very low on energy. So I'm going to, this is the largest milligram bottle that you can get from Change the Future Outcome at this time. But when you look around in the industry, it's very common. If somebody is really just working with insomnia and stuff like that, maybe they just need the 300 or 500 milligram bottle. I'm a kind of a believer in working with things. I've tried so many things over the year. I kind of like to experiment a bit. So I would personally, and I had enough and I wanted to get a whole bunch of the products because I really made a commitment to go try these when I found out there was really high quality oils, that over time you're going to probably have to be able to take less of them. So we're going to even pay less over time. But because I want to, you know, I'm dealing, like I said, with a health issue straight out of the get-go. But these ones, they really brought my energy up. So I'm going to use these more when I'm having a lower day. Maybe a night I didn't sleep very well. What I want to tell you guys last night I took the 750 milligram drops at sleep when I went to bed, and I didn't use the sublingual spray. There's a little spray, I'm sorry I forgot it upstairs, and you just spray a couple squirts in your mouth, and it's got melatonin and stuff in it also on top of the CBD oils. But I wanted to try last night and say, okay, well, I've been taking that spray since last Wednesday night. I've been sleeping better for sure this whole entire week. And so I thought, wonder what'll happen if I just take the drops and go to sleep. So I've not taking my amitriptyline, no sleeping pills since last Wednesday night. And last night, like, I thought if I have trouble falling asleep, well, then I'll add the spray in. But I wanted to see if I was getting enough of it built up in my system that maybe, you know, I can just use that spray on a night maybe where I am having difficulty sleeping, and rather than just automatically using it every night. So I didn't take the spray last night, and I slept from, I think I went to sleep around midnight, 12:30, and I woke up after 7 o'clock this morning. You know, I woke up a little bit in between, but I kept going back to sleep and kept going back to sleep. And that's one of the biggest challenges when you're in pain, is when you wake up, you're not sleeping now. You don't, to me, it was like, it's so disappointing to wake up in the middle of the night, because my pattern is I don't get back to sleep. That can make for a long day, and that can make for all sorts of stuff that's happening. The other thing I just want to be very upfront and transparent about. I've been talking about my journey. I've been talking about the things that I've been through. And when I went through my cancer and I chose not to have chemotherapy, I chose not to have chemotherapy. I am not recommending or telling people not to have chemotherapy. I did a tremendous amount of research. I personally didn't believe it. I didn't have cancer all through my body. I wasn't told, oh my God, it's everywhere in your body. I had a lump in my breast. And so I made the decision based on that information. I researched breast cancer. I didn't research pancreatic cancer. I didn't research other kinds of cancer. I researched breast cancer. And so that's what I made my choice on, because I've had somebody say, so do you think they're going through cancer, they've been diagnosed, and they've reached out and said, do you think I shouldn't do chemotherapy? Please do. I cannot answer that for you. You really need to go and talk to your doctors. What I can tell you, no matter what I was doing, I would also simultaneously be doing things to boost my immune system. The first time I went through my cancer, I did absolutely nothing but high quality nutritionals. I was getting acupuncture, I was taking nutritionals, I was actually listening to mentally, I was listening to The Secret. That's when The Secret came out around then. I first had my first diagnosis in 2007, and The Secret was big back then, and I had the tapes, and I would listen to them endlessly because I was trying to feed my mind with very positive thinking, so that I really had, not only was I doing physical things to help myself, I was also mentally preparing my body to be well, to overcome this challenge. I never ever believed that I was being given a death sentence when I was told about the cancer. I literally, truly did not see it as a death sentence. I saw it as a bump in the road and something else that I had to get through. And I can talk about that journey at some other times, but I can tell you I wasn't treated very well. I've shared that with you guys. Doctors, I was called different things, stupid, good luck with that, don't plan on a lot of more Christmases, you know, things directly from the medical community. So I got a real kind of like you attitude, and that really just strengthened my resolve, if in total honesty. It makes me think of that one surgeon that kind of was really sarcastic with me. I feel like I should send her a Christmas card, because she's one of the ones that made the comment about the Christmases, and you know, well, I don't know how many more Christmases you'll see if you don't do this chemotherapy. Well, it's 2018 and I had that in 2007, so I will stand by my choices, that I made the right ones for me. And I'm not going to tell you, not doing chemotherapy scared other people. Doing it scared me. There was people like, Diane, are you sure you're making the right choice? And I know even somebody said, somebody in your family shared with me, they're just concerned because everybody just does that. You know, and especially then, this is even now, there's less people. They're even recommending chemotherapy less. Over in other countries where they're beyond the advanced research and the industry isn't so driven by pharmaceutical profit, there's countries in the world that hardly are getting to even use chemotherapy anymore, and they use naturopathic remedies while using the chemotherapy. The only thing I remember being told when I was doing the radiation was, because radiation, they told me not to take supplements that had a metal in them. So at the time, it seems to me, if I remember correctly, my naturopath would say we wanted to make sure there's no iron in it. Things like that, like things that could bond from the metal, from the radiation. That's the one thing I remember standing out for me. But my naturopath was a fabulous man, and his mom and his aunt had cancer, so he went into naturopathic work in Calgary to specifically work with people with cancer. So that's what I went looking for when I was going through that. So again, I just took the 750 milligram drops for the first time today. So excited that I've been up for this many hours, and I just kind of remembered I do have a bit of a memory issue. I mean, it's age, it's menopause, it's pain, it's insomnia, it's all those things. But I can tell you, I feel like my brain is actually starting to fire on more cylinders. I'm not going to claim that it's firing on all of them yet, but it does genuinely feel like it's firing on more cylinders. So if you were to take the 220, that's 40 drops a day. I haven't taken 40 drops a day of this, and I'm having this much improvement. So if somebody is really hardcore, like when I brought these oils in, I was prepared to take the 40 drops a day if I need them based on my wellness and based on where I'm at. But what I did want to do is I wanted to slowly let it just come in. Like I said, I'm doing more, instead of 2 20-drop times a day, I'm doing microdosing 5 drops or so every 5 hours, 4 hours, 6 hours. It's a window in there when I remember, and I'm also paying attention to how I feel. The last 2 days my arms were actually quite sore, and last week they were really good. I mean, I was like, I have a picture in my Facebook if you go looking for it, and I'm on my motorcycle. I got those pictures taken when I was selling my motorcycle, and I have this picture and I'm like this, and my hands are in the air, and I got this big smile on my face. That actually it's not particularly easy for me to put them up there right now because it hurts. When I look at that picture and I think, my arms were not in pain when that picture was taken, because I was just like, you know, I was in a very good place in terms of that part of my body. My back hurt, and I had back surgery in 2013, and they put pins and rods in my back, but my arms never hurt like that until the last year. It got way worse after the thyroid surgery. I can tell you, if you have been diagnosed with fibromyalgia, you might want to talk to your doctor and say, can we do a parathyroid test? Because what I learned when I got diagnosed, I'd been diagnosed with fibromyalgia in Newfoundland. So I lived in Newfoundland in 2003, similar 4 around there, 5. That's when I was initially diagnosed with fibromyalgia. And what I found out is, what parathyroid, when you have an overactive parathyroid and it's spewing that calcium into your blood instead of going to your bones, and then you start to ache anywhere, and inflammation is inflaming everything and it's aching everywhere. Those nerve endings are hurting all the time. Like, I used to be like, somebody could tap me and I'd be like, woo, like that. Don't. And it would be like, woo, it's sensitive. Well, you get sensitive because it's difficult not to feel good like that, and to have somebody barely tap you and it feels like they've punched you in the arm. So I have a lot of compassion for people that are in pain. But what I want to say about that is, when I did my research on the parathyroid, there's a doc, I probably have that on my computer, and I can try to dig it out if somebody wants to go looking, or wants me to try to find it. But they said that 80%, up to 80% of people have been misdiagnosed with fibromyalgia that actually have a parathyroid problem. And what happens is, in the parathyroid world, there's a certain blood test that they do. They take the marker of the blood test to determine if you have a parathyroid problem. Well, my markers were in the because I had always been getting my thyroid blood tested since the cancer, and they were saying I wasn't in the flagged area. I wasn't high enough in something. And when you go to this research, when I was going through this research, it said it's a bullshit test. It's a way for government to save money, which ultimately is the most asinine thing in my world, because in the end, when people are sick, you're not saving government money, especially in a system that's got covered, you know, a certain amount of health care covered or whatever. The pharmaceutical problem on the earth in North America, I think the other day I was reading, and I think I shared this with you guys, it said there's a $450 billion problem. Sorry, that's not a cheap problem. So to say that something that's preventative, or taking the oils that are getting people off opioids, that are helping people deal with PTSD, that are giving them their life back, I'm sorry, there's no dollar value you can put against that. And the other thing that frustrated me was my benefits. You see, I can't end up doing a short video. Sorry, you guys. And I don't see comments or anything, so sorry if you're making them. I'm on my phone right now. This camera's a lot better. But now I just lost my thought. Anyways, yeah, sorry, I lost my thought. But when you're not feeling good, there's a high cost to it. It affects your life, it affects your relationships, it affects your joy, it affects your bank account, you know. And I mean, some of us are troopers. You know, we're troopers. We're forging ahead regardless. We're walking out with a smile on our face regardless. But when you get to the point where you barely leave your house, where you don't sleep, where you're emotional about everything, where the only reason you leave your house is for necessity versus any sort of fun or getting out or being with friends or whatever, that means your quality of life is affected. A lot of times we think poor quality of life literally means that we're on the verge of going into a care home. Well, I'm not on the verge of going into a care home, but I can tell you the quality of my life, and it was I was slipping into a depression. I was slipping into a place where I was that when you slip into a depression, there's just so many other things that go along with that. You get people in Swift Current. Swift Current's not a very big city, and people always say to me, do you still live in Swift Current, Diane? And it's because I stopped really going out and having a social life and being out there. I'm a bit of a quiet person anyways, but it wasn't the reason I'm staying home. I'm staying home because I'm tired, I hurt, I don't sleep, blah, 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 blah. So anyways, so day 11 on my Change the Future Outcome, peppermint flavored CBD oils. And the reason I put the peppermints, the ones that I did get from the dispensary, when I put those drops underneath my tongue, which I just did, you guys, I literally would be like, because the taste just was very offensive, but I'm willing to put up with a little bit of that to try to get the resolve. What happened was, in that bottle, that 15 milliliter bottle, I never got any response. I never felt better. I wasn't sleeping better. My pain wasn't going away. My legs didn't stop hurting. My knees didn't stop hurting. All of that stuff that's happening to me right now, and it's happening to me in a matter of 11 days. So I'm really excited to stay on this journey and continue on the oils. If you look in this bottle here, you can't really see it, but right now, this still is that full. Like, it's right at the label. I can actually see it above the label. You might not be able to see it, but I can. And this one, which I had a couple extra days longer, and this is the one where I took the full serving of the other night. Hey, hi, Alan, thank you. Oh, it's good to see you. So this one is the one that I took. So this one has a little bit less in it, and I actually had it. So it's about right there. So, I mean, this bottle is still over 2/3, 3/4 full. This bottle is just barely started, and I feel better. So, yes, I guess you can say I'm pretty passionate and energetic. It's just because there's so many people that are suffering on the earth, and I get very frustrated and sad about that when there's solutions. And some of the solutions are not being brought to us through the medical industry, the pharmaceutical industry. You know, $180 billion. This is a 11-year-old statistic, even maybe more, because it's when I was doing my research in 2007. $180 billion a year was spent in the United States just on chemo alone. Just on chemo alone. And when they wanted me to do the chemo, I just was like, I'm sorry, it's not for me. But I do want to tell you, I'm not saying don't do it. I'm saying do your research, make your choices according to, you know, participating in your own wellness. If we just hand everything over to the other people and the doctors, at the end of the day, you know, we have to take some responsibility for that. I'm very active in my own wellness and my own health. I'm a very upfront person, so I have very direct conversations with medical people. I'm honest about where I'm at. If I don't like something, I tell them I'm not really liking where you're going with that, you know. And you know, it took me a while to even get medical marijuana, and the beautiful about this stuff is you don't need a prescription. You don't have to go to the doctor. This is under 0.3% THC, which allows it to be it's categorized, and it falls into supplement. If you start having high THC, you do have to have medical marijuana. You have to go to a prescription. You have to renew it every year and all of that. And then the THC THC to me is a version of a little bit of a wake-up pill. Like it heightens me, but it never did anything for my pain. And sometimes I almost think that it actually kind of maybe even made it a little bit worse, because sometimes I would get agitated because I would be frustrated with the pain, and now I'm a little bit on the THC, and you know, it's not just like all flowers and roses in any of this journey. So I didn't do a short video again, but thanks for you guys, for those of you who are watching it and reaching out. I'm getting messages that people are saying, you know, they can see a difference in me. My own friends certainly can. And so if you have any questions, yeah, but I mean, there's all sorts of this stuff out in the market. You want to, like that whole video I did last night was about asking the right questions, picking a good product, getting high quality CBD oils that are not being diluted with other things to prevent people from, you know, really getting well. There's no money in wellness in terms of the truth and the governments and all of that. The money's in sickness, and I'm a that's just an issue I could get very, very passionate about. I really think that we need to start having our own health professionals saying, no, it's not good enough that you only want me to go on opioids like that doctor suggested to me at Christmas time. Because the one thing my doctor, he left Swift Current, and he missed my parathyroid thing, and he was honest, and he was really sad that he had done, he had not caught that, and I had gone all those extra years with the parathyroid issue. But he was not a pill pusher. He literally was not a pill pusher. And I mean, he would be, let's do everything. I did mat therapy, he did prolotherapy, he did vitamin infusion, he would give you good smoothie recipes. He would tell you take vitamin B, vitamin D. We would look at where my deficiency were in my blood, and he was a GP, but he treated his practice like a naturopath, really, in a lot of ways. But the doctor I saw at Christmas, he just flat out said, you just need to go on opioids and come to peace with being on opioids. You know what? So here's my little your personality. And I've never seen him again. I have no interest in never seeing him again. He didn't even want to discuss any other options with me. But I needed a new doctor because I do have these things that I'm and I like to stay on top of my blood work, because that's where the inflammation and we were showing up and all of that. And I can tell you, inflammation is everything. Most diseases are actually inflammation based when you got right underneath it all. And that's the thing that's got me so effing excited about this, was that CBD oil just takes the receptor, the cell, and it just takes the inflammation and just, so that link, I'll put it up again. It's a 20-minute video by that gentleman. He explains it in layman terms. I'm not a doctor. My brain doesn't even function well enough some days to even try to repeat what they say. I'm just sharing my own personal journey. So God bless everybody. I hope this is helpful to you. But definitely, yeah, if you are going through cancer, you want to look at options, and somebody that's going to cancer, I just say highly, highly include the CBD oils. Go YouTube videos and look for science, research, medical videos, not just people that are like, there's people on YouTube that are smoking their THC and they're telling you how good and how high, how great the medical marijuana is and stuff like that. It's good to have people that are having testimonials, but when I go looking, I want to know the science. I want to know why CBD oils is affecting a cancer cell. I want to know why CBD oils could help my inflammation. And otherwise, we can just go to the drugstore and stay on average-based vitamins and hope for the best. That plan never really worked for me either. So, but yeah, talk to your doctors, include naturopaths. Make sure that you're boosting your immune system. But I do want to say, I can't say yes or no. I'm simply not gonna. My answer's never gonna change. If somebody asks me, are you saying don't do chemo or I shouldn't do chemo? Definitely not. That is not what I'm saying. I don't want anyone to think that. I'm just sharing my own story and my own reasons, and I'm glad I didn't. It's 11 years. It's 11 years this month, and actually, I was a little of an oddball, because when I had my first diagnosis, the first time they found the tumor in my breast, I actually asked to have the surgery put off for a month, and they were like, why would you do that? Like, no, we got to get this out. And I'm like, hey, that thing's been there based on the size. They said it took me quite a while to get to that size and all of that. I said, no, I want to boost my immune system before I go under the anesthesia and stuff like that. And they were like, well, you can do that, we don't really recommend it. And I was like, I don't want to go straight into something that's going to lower my immune system. I knew I wasn't going to do the chemo, but I wanted to boost my immune system before I even had the surgery. And I think I had the surgery on about the 4th of April, and I was diagnosed about the 26th of February or something like that. So even then, again, they were like, I don't really suggest you do that, Diane. And I'm like, well, I'm a psychic intuitive, and I follow my own path. That's been obvious for many, many years to many, many people. So, but what my logic said, well, get your immune system. So that's when I went on the high nutritionals, was listening to The Secret every day. And then I stayed on the nutritionals for, I don't know, 6 months or so after, but I was spending about $500 a month on nutritionals, and I'll tell you what, that was not an easy path, financial path to keep up with, especially when I was off work and stuff for a little bit after the surgery. So anyways, God bless everybody. Have a fabulous day, and you know, I'm just going to say it's so far so good. I mean, the fact that I've done this many videos is somewhat indicative that I'm obviously feeling better. So have a great day, everybody.